Here we have the Boys of 76 bronze float.
That float right there is a tradition dating back to the 1920s, and it's a big crowd pleaser for thousands in Racine.
100 years after their first parade, the folks who run it say they need help keeping it together.
Today, our Racine County reporter Tahalil Mohideen spoke with Rick, Tim, and John. They are all veterans in charge of the oldest living memorial float in America. They call it the Boys of 76.
This is probably one of my favorites.
Captivating generations of parade goers.
When I was 5 or 6 years old, like in 1955, and that float was there. I remember that. And I remember it all the years that I took my kids.
This living memorial float has quite the history.
What makes the float special?
It's the pride of Racine.
A well-documented presence dating back to the 1920s, the oldest of its kind in the country.
The early years, it went all across the country because it was so unique.
For 100 years, the veterans at American Legion Post 310 have maintained the Boys of 76 float, honoring World War I veterans, showing it off every 4th of July in Racine.
People get that spine-tingling little bit of sense of patriotism.
A 3 miles long parade that draws in about 100,000 people each year. Boys of 76 float volunteers paint themselves in bronze, frozen in place for the 90-minute ride.
It can be a steamy, sweaty, long, and as we get older, you get frozen into those positions. It can be a little bit of a challenge, but it's a good one.
It's a tradition Vice Commander Rick Lucas tells me they'll need help to maintain.
We're looking for money right now to help revitalize the float the way it used to look back in the 20s.
Many of the parts keeping the float together are practically as old as the tradition.
Tires that we have on there by the tire code go back to 1949.
Making affordable replacements hard to come by. So these veterans are reaching out to the community they served for help. A GoFundMe already gaining traction.
We had one individual give us $1,000 because his grandfather was one of the original riders on the float.
Hoping with this kind of support, they can hold on to the legacy for 100 years more. In Racine, Tahalil Mohideen, TMJ4 News.
And Tahalil is our reporter in Racine County. If you have a story idea or something going on in the neighborhood you think needs to be highlighted, send her an email. You see it right there on your screen.